invented it for paper, but it's a true story. As all the tales in Morbid Curiosity are true stories. The keeper of the shop. For no apparent reason, I've been drawn to particular found objects throughout my life. I find a sense of divination, a feeling of function, purpose, and communication through seemingly insignificant items. Curled along the sidewalk, rubber bands denote a wish granted. Stray playing cards found through treks through New York and San Francisco have forged a path of cosmic poker, foretelling and reassuring me about personal poignant events. Fans of my music now reward me with their own found card collections, adorning the stage with them. They know the 9 of Hearts is my most propitious, Queen of Spades, a close second. Puzzle pieces discovered at intersections have directed me through difficult decisions. The magic is always there. The trick is to allow myself to be observant enough to recognize it. I became transfixed when stumbling upon this strange little shop in 1992. Having just moved from Manhattan, I was exploring San Francisco's Haight-Ashbury and was instantly lured into the magical storefront. Its textured walls were laden with curios, gargoyles, handcrafted religious icons, occult supplies, voodoo dolls, taxidermy, Chinese money for the dead. Bric-a-brac crowded every inch of space, displayed haphazardly from nails, pushpins, and fishing line. Towering toward the ceiling, this evoked a glorious sense of peril, especially in a city known for earthquakes. Some of the shelves were so dusty, it looked as though the merchandise had been unearthed from past centuries. Basket upon basket held odd toys and talismans, licorice pipes, and dashboard saints. The woman behind the counter possessed a cold, exotic air. Clad in an antique velvet dress, dark curls bundled loosely on top of her head, she appeared as a dark queen reigning over her unsuspecting subjects. When she noticed a particular book I was carrying, we struck up a conversation. Carrie turned out to be the store's manager. She smiled subtly when I asked if they were hiring. She said in a hushed tone that yes, they were looking for someone, but they hadn't put the word out yet. I gave her my telephone number. I felt like I'd found a kindred spirit. As I walked further down the street, I encountered a shiny 9 of Hearts, right at the very edge of the curb. San Francisco is proving to be lucky for me. My interview to meet the owner of the shop was scheduled the following week. Now, getting the job rested on whether Jeff liked me or not. When I spoke with Carrie initially, she informed me that Jeff could come across as a little odd, but not to worry. Nevertheless, I did. Following my second cup of coffee, 3 aspirins, and no breakfast, I entered the shop. Peggy Lee was cooing on the stereo. Through black curtains concealing the back office emerged a small, older gentleman with slumped bookseller's shoulders. He beckoned me to the desk. He wore a dull tweed cap, thick-rimmed eyeglasses, and an unfashionably wide tie. His full gray beard gave him a cartoon walrus-type appearance. His eccentric character melded with the decor. Hardly had we exchanged formalities when the conversation took an enjoyable shift into very non-work topics, from Eartha Kitt to mystery novels, 50s mambo music, and our shared travails in New York City. Needless to say, I was to begin the following Monday. So Monday was the slowest day by far. So additional tasks, including dusting, straightening up the displays, and conversing by the cash register for hours while drinking coffee, exploring every subject imaginable. At first, I found Mondays agonizing. Being alone with the boss for the entire day, I longed for my other coworkers. But as the weeks passed, I felt more and more affection for this curious shopkeeper. I began to look forward fondly to Mondays when Jeff and I would share our stories. Jeff was actually headed for Portland, Oregon. His stopover in San Francisco had lasted so far 17 years. He resided in an old Victorian apartment building across the street from the store, and his daily routine encompassed no more than 3 city blocks. This existence appeared hardly exceptional, but his life was a collection of extraordinary events and occupations, and Jeff delighted in telling these tales. every muscle in his petite frame clenched with excitement. His hands would gesticulate wildly, salt and pepper eyebrows wriggling like caterpillars. Every Monday revealed an adventure more compelling than the last. Being a gay man in New York City during the early 1970s inspired him to become a photographer, capturing drag performers on and off the stage. He went on to gain popularity instructing old-fashioned burlesque and striptease dancers to disrobe with that extra panache. He confessed to publishing several X-rated pulp novels under a pen name I could never get him to reveal. Mastering the art of grooming standard poodles, Jeff spent some of his New York days clipping show cuts on the precious pets of mafia members. He liked to go into great detail about the variety of classic pom-pom poodle styles. The Metropolitan was a favorite among clients. He'd also sold antiquarian books, been a radio announcer, champion cribbage player, and an expert at hand-beating couture evening gowns. Now Jeff's current routine included daily jaunts to the Haight Street Goodwill, where he never failed to score. Jeff excitedly bestowed upon me a plastic infant of Prague floating in a jello red lucite cube, followed by a drinking mug that stated, "Dating is a tug-of-war, just one big jerk after another." I still have that. Having now achieved a prominent and avuncular role in my life, Jeff was bewildered by my penchant for long-haired, tortured artist types. When boys of this sort would swagger into the store, Jeff waited until they exited, and then he would burst into laughter. On some occasions, he would hide in the stockroom to control his giggling fits when one of these boys would pay me a visit. He would say in his grandiloquent tone, "Honey, you've got to get over it." Nearly 2 years passed, and my living situation in a nearby flat became unbearable. Following a scary ordeal, I had to evacuate my home in mere hours, while the San Francisco Police Department detained my male, long-haired roommate for questioning about a possible felony. Jeff invited me to move... Jeff invited me to move all of my earthly possessions into the store's cramped rear office while I crashed on a friend's sofa. So this little shop literally became my home for 3 months. I made daily treks in and out to receive necessary items for my desk and bureau. Cardboard boxes of my clothes, books, and memorabilia shared shelf space with tiki barware, tarot cards, and Elvis Presley toilet seat covers. Jeff made what could have been a devastating situation reassuring. He constantly joked about selling off my belongings by mistake. One particular Monday, while I rung up Marquis de Sade healing candles and glow-in-the-dark rubber squids, a customer paid for his purchases with a $2 bill. I exclaimed to Jeff that 2s were a good luck token, that I held on to them whenever they found me. But that's just it. For the magic to be genuine, I had to happen upon the bills, not purposely procure them. I swapped the Lucky Charms for 2 singles from my wallet and carefully stashed the bill in the top drawer of the black steel desk, still housed in the back office. The auspicious 2 worked its magic. Soon I found an ideal apartment and roommate mere blocks away. Another summer inflicted itself upon Haight Street. Tourists shoved into the narrow storefront, both intrigued and outraged at our collection of curiosities. They destroyed our carefully arranged displays as well as our patience. Carrie and I were working on a Tuesday when Jeff failed to bring in our paychecks. In fact, neither one of us had seen him the entire morning. This was completely out of character for Jeff. According to his delicate and systematic methods, Tuesday was always without fail payday.